Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good evening, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We got some crazy breaking news. I was not expecting this to happen today or tonight. I had something completely different set up for you guys for this evening's show. But that's just going to have to wait for another conversation for another time. Okay. But we do have some crazy stuff going on right now. This is insane. And I'm telling you right now, anybody who crossed Trump in the previous term or in this term, he going to get you. That is basically what I've learned with this whole situation right now. That's it. Trump is not playing. That's it. He remembers his enemies. He remembers people that cross him. And he is out for them all. Anyway, we're going to be talking about a bunch of things. Like I said, I had a whole bunch of other things set up for a completely different show. So just ride with me because there's so much going on right now. It's absolutely insane. And of course, he is not playing. This is crazy. This is crazy because there's information here that's going to make you wonder, wait a second, can he do this? Can he actually do this? Can this actually work? We're going to find out. We're definitely going to find out. So let's get into this doggone thing. So do me a favor. Before we get into everything, hit that like button down below, shall we? Okay, please and thank you. Hit that like button down below. All right. Crush that follow button. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button as well. Okay. Here on my YouTube channel. Go and follow me on all my other platforms: Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, okay? Especially on the Facebook and TikTok, because a lot of times I'm doing a lot of these things. Like I'm banging out a lot of these short videos, short form videos to give you guys just the breaking news of what's going on. And I talk about everything from true crime to politics to pop culture, everything that may be trending, all that stuff. I'm talking about it on all these platforms. And sometimes I'm doing something so fast, okay? I'm doing these so short because these videos or the news just keeps on newsing, okay? It's coming in fast, it's coming in hard. So make sure you subscribe, following all those platforms, please and thank you, okay? Make sure you subscribe here too. Go to my second channel and my third channel, The Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Subscribe there, hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Hit that join button down below, become a member. Check out my Patreon and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com, we got some really great stuff over there, PascalMerch.com. Okay. Have mercy. We got some things we have got to get into. And of course, there's allegedly like a watch party going on. I guess people are waiting for maybe there's going to be some sort of live press conference maybe from James Comey, or maybe representatives, maybe James Comey's lawyer or something of that sort. So we're still waiting to see if I'm still seeing stuff about that. But nonetheless, first and foremost, we got to go back a little bit. Okay, just a tiny bit. We got to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane before we get into the meat and potatoes so that we understand exactly what the F is going on here, because there's a lot going on. Okay, so first and foremost, I know some of y'all are already savvy to this, but some of y'all aren't. So let's take a listen to what's going on, what happened last night. Okay, so this happened yesterday. They were saying, hey, it looks like James Comey, former FBI director, James Comey is about to be indicted. Is he about to get charged, right? And so they had a conversation, and it went a little something like this.
Comey may be indicted soon. Sources tell CNN that President Trump's Justice Department is close to deciding on whether to charge Comey with lying to Congress. The testimony in question happened on September 30th, 2020, when Comey appeared before Congress to answer questions about his handling of the investigation into Russia's meddling in the 2016 election. You see him there. This was during COVID, of course, so he's doing it from home or from work. Under the law, prosecutors only have 5 years to the day to bring such a charge. If a grand jury does approve the case in the coming days, this would be one of the highest profile indictments in President Trump's second term. And this comes after President Trump made blatant public directives to his attorney general, Pam Bondi, to prosecute his political enemies, including Comey. And of course, he fired a U.S. attorney for not bringing criminal charges against his opponents. CNN Crime and Justice.
Okay, you heard that part, right? First off, I want to make this abundantly clear. Trump said, oh, you're not willing to press charges on certain people? You're fired. That's it. He was actually going after Attorney General, excuse me, he was going after, I think it's AG. I forgot her title, but Letitia James, okay? Remember Letitia James from New York? She was going after him on certain charges back in the day, right? Remember? A couple years ago, when he wasn't president, she was going after him pretty hard in the paint. So he remembered that. So for example, and trust me, it doesn't matter if this is CNN or ABC or Fox News, they all basically say the same story, that he turned to these people that were not willing to press charges on the people that he wanted charges pressed on. And he said, you're fired. You're not willing to find, or you can't find anything to indict the likes of Letitia James. You're fired. That's it. You can hear this from Fox News, MSNBC, CNN. It doesn't matter where you're getting the source. They are not changing the narrative here. This is facts. He was not playing because he is coming out for blood. He is after blood, y'all. He is after vengeance. And you will know that his vengeance name is Trump, right? So again, he wasn't mad, or he wasn't playing, and he got mad. In fact, he was if I'm correct, he was he meant to write something to Pam Bondi, but he made a mistake and posted something on Truth Social that was meant to go straight to Pam Bondi. And of course, that exposed a lot of stuff as well. Okay. So there's a lot of information here that it doesn't matter. It's universally covered on all media, all legacy media. Doesn't matter how biased they are, if they're left or right or center right. It doesn't matter. They're all saying the same doggone thing. You're not willing. Trump wanted charges pressed on certain people, like the likes of Letitia James, and they said, I'm sorry, boss, but I haven't found anything. And they're like, you can't find anything? Trump's like, huh? You can't find any charges on her? You're fired. That's it. Find me somebody who can find something to indict her on, and the likes of other people. Again, like I said, James Comey is not the only person he's going after, y'all. He is not the only one. He has a laundry list of people that he wants to take down. Trump. He ain't playing. Let's listen some more.
Correspondent Caitlin Polance and CNN senior justice correspondent Evan Perez join us now. So, Caitlin, what are prosecutors doing right now before they run out of time?
Well, to the best of our knowledge, they are getting ready to present a case to a federal grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia. So that's part of the federal court system in Virginia, where a lot has gone down in the past few days. What we do know about this is the contours of what has to happen between now and Tuesday. So we know that the prosecutors are looking at the possibility that James Comey lied to Congress. That's according to sources that Evan and I have. And we also know that possible perjury charge, there's a deadline to bring it, because in the federal court system, you have 5 years to bring a charge. And that testimony Comey gave, it was on September 30th of 2020. September 30th? That's next Tuesday. And
so again, they have a 5-year window to press charges. Okay. And they are literally, today is what? The 25th. I forgot the date. Like, they are literally down to the wire. So that's why he's like, you can't find anything. Come on now. Rev it up. We got more information. This is a very interesting situation. This is a very interesting indictment as well.
Grand juries don't sit every day. What day will the Justice Department be able to go before a secret grand jury in one of the federal courthouses in the Eastern District of Virginia? Today's a possibility. Tomorrow, Monday, not a lot of time. And they will have to convince those grand jurors, between 14 and 22 people, to vote yes to indict Comey. We know that there have also been several different investigations around Jim Comey over the years after he was the FBI director. A lot of scrutiny there. He's the person that Donald Trump was posting on social media about over the weekend, saying no talk, all action, no talk, justice must be served, mentioning what about Comey? This situation, we don't know the exact details of what this indictment will say, but we are waiting to see exactly what emerges out of the federal.
So we don't know specifically what he's accused of lying about.
That's right.
Oh, that's interesting. And Evan, the Eastern District of Virginia, the U.S. Attorney's Office there, we've been talking about that.
Yeah, we were talking about this
since
just last
Friday.
week. Yeah.
Remind everybody.
Well, Eric Siebert was the U.S. attorney there. He was he was the acting U.S. attorney, and he was picked by Donald Trump to run that office. And we know that one of the things that he's been investigating in not only Comey, but also the investigation into alleged mortgage fraud by Letitia James, who is the New York Attorney General who brought the civil fraud cases against Trump and his company. Siebert and his prosecutors there were balking at that case in particular, which led Trump over the weekend to essentially lash out at Pam Bondi and at Siebert. He fired him on Friday, and he installed on Monday Lindsay Halligan, who is one of his former attorneys. And so she took office on Monday, Jake, and she has now been seen in the last few days at the Justice Department. Surely this is among the cases that she's looking at to see when they could bring it. And as Caitlin points out, we don't know when they'll do it, but they certainly have to make a decision between now and Tuesday.
Mind you. I want to remind you. Listen, I know some of y'all like, man, CNN, man, and that's not fair. You know, sometimes you get information from places that maybe you don't listen to very often. We're getting the information here. This is not biased information yet. This is just them giving the facts. There was another U.S. attorney that was looking at these specific people, and they didn't find anything at the time. And this is facts. This is the reason why one U.S. attorney is gone, and why you have a new supermodel attorney, Lindsay Halligan, taking over. Just so you know, that's facts. That's not a lie. That's not fake news. That's not a fugazi. That's not a red herring. That is facts. The lawyer that was there, the U.S. attorney that was there, was like, I can't find anything, boss. And he goes, you can't find anything? I'll find somebody that can. You're fired. And enter Halligan. And what's interesting about this is that she found something. But is it enough? Don't worry, we're going to talk about that. And yeah, we're going to be hopping around from a whole bunch of different legacy media, just so you know, okay? Just so you know. Time out. We're going to get into some more stuff. This is insane, okay? We're hopping over to Fox News in just a little bit too, okay? We're hopping back and forth because you need to hear both sides of the spectrum here. So I'm going to do my best to hop back and forth. If you got a problem with it, deal with it. I love you. But I'm doing my best here, okay? Because this is all breaking news. But I listened to this and I felt like this was a fairly good breakdown of what happened last night. And then today, we already know what's going on right now. I'm just giving you some context so we can move forward. You feel me? Okay. I love y'all.
Siebert, conservative, had been bringing a bunch of immigration
pro-Trump
cases,
person,
worked his way up through the office of the U.S. Attorney's Office.
And his one sin, according to Trump, is that he had the support of the 2 Virginia Democratic senators, which is how it works.
We know, but we also know his real sin was he didn't bring charges, right?
Right, exactly.
And his replacement, a former insurance lawyer,
Right,
and
was present when Mar-a-Lago was searched.
but very loyal.
Very loyal, right. And
Very loyal. Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
the assumption is that she will likely do the things that Trump wants. I mean, that's why he wants her there.
Yeah. All right, Caitlin. And
Oh, she'll perform all right. She'll perform. And apparently she's performing now. Okay. So again, you have somebody who's loyal. Here's the thing, though. I mean, that's basically what he wants, right? We already know that's how he rolls. Anybody who's on his team. But actually, if you really think about it, isn't that what every president wants? People who are loyal to him? I'm just saying, before everybody goes, oh, look at you going after Trump. No, I'm not going after nobody. I'm just pointing out something that's kind of true universally. Doesn't every president want people on their side to do what they ask precisely and to a T? Don't they all want the same mother lovers? Loyal as F? Don't they all? Just saying. Now, here's what's interesting, though. Former lawyer, former U.S. attorney was like, can't find nothing. You can't find nothing. You're fired. He brings in her, Lindsay Halligan. Okay. And now he's been indicted. Here's the thing, though. More indictments are coming for other people. Letitia James is on the list. And all the other people that he has vendettas against, that he wants to seek revenge upon, he's coming after all of them. Doesn't matter if he has enough evidence or not. He's coming for him. We got to talk about that. Is that right? Is that even legal? Is that even legal? That's a question I have. Okay. But let's continue on. Let's listen to a little bit more and we're going to get straight to the meat and potatoes. Okay. We're going to jump towards current moment today. Okay.
Evan, thanks so much. Joining us now, CNN political analyst and New York Times' Pulitzer Prize winning White House correspondent, Maggie Haberman. Maggie, what are your sources telling you about these potential charges against FBI Director Comey?
Look, Jake, this is something that, President Trump has made no secret. What I've been hearing from people privately is what he's been saying publicly is that he wants to see James Comey prosecuted. There has been an effort to try to make that happen. There was resistance, I believe, and that's in some of the reporting that we're seeing now about going through with this because prosecutors just didn't believe that there was going to be enough to make a case on, or so we have been told. Now, to go ahead in spite of that is a risk because it's not really clear that you're not guaranteed an indictment just because you go before a grand jury. And so we will see what this looks like if, in fact, they go ahead. Now, as CNN's reporting shows, they are debating what to do. But again, Lindsay Halligan is President Trump's handpicked person. He wanted her there. He did not want Eric Siebert in that role anymore. He was not just Trump's pick. He was his person. It was his office who went ahead and backed him. And yes, Democratic senators were fine with him, but that got used against him by some of his Siebert's opponents and critics within the administration. So this is something, again, we know that President Trump has been looking for this for many, many, many years. And I expect him to try to push this ahead as far as possible, but we'll see.
And just to be clear here, President Trump wanting a prosecution of James Comey, does it matter what the charge is, or he just wants his political enemies charged with something?
Well, I think to prosecutors it matters. I mean, I don't think that the president is necessarily the closest observer of the criminal law, but I do think that for
Whoa, he's
prosecutors,
tall.
they realize there has to be a case that they can argue. We have seen other prosecutions in the Trump era, such as some that emerged from the Durham report, that did not end up in convictions, even though they ended up with indictments. So if there is a decision to move ahead with an indictment here with Comey, then it would go to trial, and then we would presumably, and then we would see what that looks like. There's also a world where there isn't necessarily an indictment returned. And so this is, again, and this is all, Jake, playing out so publicly in the press. This is also typically not what prosecutors want.
Very interesting, right? Now, here's the thing. You have somebody who is, by the way, he's really tall. Holy crap. I didn't realize how tall James Comey was, but he's towering over Trump. And isn't Trump like 6'3", 6'4", something like that? He's tall himself. So that's crazy how tall James Comey is. When you saw him, he looked like why did he remind me of the dude from Succession? The tall guy from Succession, the really, really tall guy from Succession. I don't know why, but it made me think of Succession for a second. But anyway, we're moving on from CNN, okay? But here's the thing, okay? Trump, because I know somebody said something like, you got it all wrong. It's not revenge. It's called justice. Revenge and justice can be the same. Two can be the same. Two things can be true at the same time, okay? Two things can be true at the same time. And if you've read anything from Trump, way before he even became president, he has talked about how revenge, okay? Revenge is everything. This is coming from Trump. If they screw you, screw back harder. That comes from Trump's own book. I've read the book. I've listened to the audio tapes. I'm not kidding. Yes, back when there were audio CDs. All right. I've listened to his stuff. That's who he is. It could be justice and it can be vengeance at the same damn time. Quit trying to find something that I'm saying to turn it into something divisive. It is not that. I'm just talking truth about Trump. That's it. All right. So moving on, because all y'all are just sexy. I love all y'all, but diggity damn. Sometimes everybody's like, he can do no wrong. It's like, oh my God, chill. Tranquilo. Oh my God. Damn, chill. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. All right. It's gonna be okay. But let's jump towards today. What just happened? Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted on 2 counts. One for obstruction of justice and one for making a false statement. Now, we already heard about what he was going to be indicted on because of what he said during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing about involvements with Russia, with, election. It's weird. I have to be very careful on what I say because last time I said anything about that word, the moment where you cast your vote in type thing, my channel got into some serious trouble. So whenever it comes to the Rona, casting your vote in, things being stolen, that vote being stolen type thing, I have to be very careful because I don't know why, but they're weird with that kind of conversation. Sorry, guys, but that's just the truth. All right. But apparently they're talking about his involvement, right? Now, what's interesting is that they're saying that he lied under oath, made false statements, obstruction of justice. What's this all about, right? So let's take a look at this. Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted on charges of making false statements and obstruction related to his testimony before a Senate Judiciary Committee in 2020, just days after President Donald Trump issued a public demand for the DOJ, okay, to act now to bring prosecutions against Comey and other political foes. The charges follow Trump's ousting of the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. Like, he kicked out, we just heard that, Eric Siebert, because he couldn't find anything. He expressed doubts internally about bringing cases against Comey, as well as New York AG Letitia James. I was right. It was the AG. Okay. You know, my brain, you know, I'm sleep deprived. You know how it is. Okay. But here it is. Okay. They're bringing cases against Comey. Okay. As well as the AG, New York AG Letitia James. Okay. After Trump appointed him to lead the office, Trump then immediately moved to install Lindsay Halligan, the new girl, the new lawyer that just got into, she hasn't even fully moved into her office, I'm sure. And they're already indicting Comey this quickly. Okay. Now, just so you know, she was a White House aide and his former defense attorney. Okay. And so now she is leading the office despite her having no prior prosecutorial experience. So she has no experience doing this stuff, but she's willing to bend at his will. And that's what he likes. That's just a fact. Let's be real. What leader doesn't like somebody who's willing to bend at their will? I'm just saying. It's not a dig. It's just facts, baby. It's just facts. Earlier this week, federal prosecutors in Virginia informed Halligan that they could not establish probable cause to charge Comey. Okay? Despite the lack of clear evidence and ethical concerns about bringing a case without clear probable cause, Halligan sought an indictment from the grand jury. So she ignored them sitting there going, wait. There's not enough. There's not enough evidence. There's not enough to bring or to pursue actual charges. There's not enough here to really stick it to the man, right? But she said, nah, there's enough. We going forward. Charge these mother-loving asses. And that's exactly where we're at right now. Very interesting, right? In a series of social media posts over the weekend, Trump said Halligan was being appointed to the office to, quote unquote, get things moving after attacking Siebert for his resistance to bring what Trump described as a great case. Pam Bondi is doing a great job as Attorney General of the United States. She is very careful, very smart, loves our country, but needs a tough prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia, like my recommendation, Lindsay Halligan, to get things moving. The charges against Comey are the most dramatic escalation yet in what critics have described as a campaign of retribution by Trump to use the powers of the federal government to enact revenge against those he believes have wronged him. I'm sorry, I'm just reading what's being said right there in that periodical. Okay, Legacy Media is even saying he is seeking retribution. Let's be real. Okay, let's be just a little real. He's looking for
revenge.
Just saying. But moving on, Comey who was fired by Trump during Trump's first term over the investigation into Trump's 2016 campaign and its ties to Russia, has been a vocal critic of what he says are Trump's efforts to politicize the justice system. That argument is now likely to be central to Comey's defense in his criminal case, which could prove to be a highly consequential test for both the DOJ and the federal judiciary. So, very, very interesting stuff that's going on here, guys. Very, very interesting stuff. Okay? So, let's continue on, though, because there's more. Let's take a look at the
to
news.
consulate and to next of kin. That process is ongoing, and so we'll defer to our ICE counterparts at some
Hold
point
on.
to determine when it's the right time to release that information.
Hold on.
So aside from taxes, there's no part of the deal that is like a payment to the U.S. government.
Well, we're going to be announcing.
Sorry for the little bit of the left turn, but I do want to point this out. For those of y'all who are on TikTok, just so you know, Trump has signed an executive order on TikTok. So now, even more now, we're going to know, or we now know, that the government is going to have their hands on TikTok. So there's only going to be so much you can talk about or say, or your stuff might get shadow banned, okay, on that platform. I'm just letting you guys know. For those of y'all who don't know, now you know. White House, the government, definitely having their hands on the TikTok. Oracle and the like having their hands on it as well. So this is going to be a very, very interesting rest of his term, with TikTok being controlled by the government. Just so you guys know. I know that's a little bit of a left turn, but just wanted to let you guys know about that, okay? Because we got to get straight over to the conversation about Comey, which is right about here.
Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted. I want to show you this live vantage point that we have there of the White House. This, of course, all coming after a feud between the president and James Comey has been going on for some time. And so according to the Associated Press, sending out this one blurb saying that the former FBI agent, director, has been indicted on charges of making a false statement and obstruction. That's according to one of their sources. And so once again, this is something that has been talked about for some time. We do know that Attorney General Pam Bondi has since said on social media that no one is above the law. This was just moments after the former FBI Director Comey was indicted on charges of making a false statement and obstruction. Going on to say on X that today's indictment reflects this Department of Justice's commitment to holding those who abuse positions of power accountable for misleading the American people. We will follow the facts in this case. And so I want to put this up from the Associated Press reporter as well. This is all we're still learning, working to learn more details about how this will continue to roll out. But this indictment does make Comey the first former senior government official to face prosecution in connection with one of Trump's chief grievances. This is the long concluded investigation into the Russian interference in the 2016 election. Trump and his supporters have since derived that investigation as a, quote, hoax and a witch hunt, despite multiple government reviews showing that Moscow did interfere on behalf of the Republicans' campaign. Also putting this up there on your screen from Fox News, following this story closely as well, saying that he has, again, once been indicted by a grand jury on 2 counts, alleged false statement and alleged obstruction of justice. And so I want to put this up on the screen, just some video footage of James Comey. If you're not familiar with him, he was, again, a long-time member of the FBI and director. We do know that this criminal case is still likely to deepen concerns about the Justice Department there. This is all according to the Associated Press, talking about their direction under Pam Bondi, who is a President Trump loyalist. And so we'll continue to work to see if we find out more details. They will continue to come out in the next few minutes and hours since this announcement has been made. But again, former FBI Director James Comey indicted by a grand jury on 2 counts, false statement and alleged obstruction of justice. I want to get that in for you here on Live Now from Fox. We're going to take this time to slide away for our final 2-minute commercial break of the hour. Stay with us.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up some some of his posts, Trump, because he obviously had a few things that he had in the past that he put up here. So I'm just trying to get those things really quick. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. Let's continue on. Let's see.
From Fox, live look here at
There
the
we go.
White House. We want to continue on with our breaking news that we are following for you. Just coming down within the last 5 minutes or so. I'm your host, Mike Pace. We'll be with you for the next several hours. We are breaking former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted on 2 counts. This is what we are learning right now. Associated Press was putting this out earlier. Fox News as well. The former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted on charges of making a false statement and obstruction. AP sources are reporting. I want to give you a live look right now.
You know what I'm curious about is how they're going to prove that he made a false statement, right? They got to have some sort of solid evidence to say, yes, this guy made a false statement and we going to take him down. You see what I'm saying? So there's got to be something that's really going to get, that's going to catch James Comey red-handed, right? But this is very interesting. This whole thing is very, very interesting. Hector, thank you so much for the love. James Comey wasn't indicted because Trump weaponized the FBI. James Comey got indicted because he weaponized the FBI and got caught. He was indicted by a grand jury, not Trump. I see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying. But I think it's going to be very interesting to follow up. I want to see what they're going to follow up with. Like, what's the evidence, right? What's the proof? Because again, remember, Siebert, who had the job before Halligan, couldn't find anything really to indict Comey and even Letitia James. So then he got fired. He got replaced by Halligan. So I'm curious as to what Halligan has that's going to destroy and prove that James Comey was really up to no good, that he was weaponizing the FBI and all that, as you said, Hector, right? So I am kind of curious about that, for sure. Nurse for God, thank you so much for being a member for the past 7 months. I appreciate it. Glad I'm part of the family. I'm glad you're part of the family, too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation, too. Beautiful Messy Ball, what's up? Thank you so much for the love. He has made contradictory statements in front of Congress versus in front of America on live television and in front of live audiences. Well, if that is the case, I hope that they have that information, right? Because they can't just shoot from the hip and just pull something out of the sky and just say, see, he lied right there. That doesn't make any sense. They need solid evidence to really bring this all the way home. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not sitting here saying that they don't have enough, but I know that if you have somebody that was in the position before Halligan and he was sitting there going, I don't find anything, boss. There's nothing there, boss. I understand some are going to side-eye that and wonder if that is because he has some sort of bias towards any, people on the Democrat side or on the side of the blue. I know that's one thing that I'm sure that made Trump side-eye him, maybe. Okay. But there's the other part where it's like, what if he's actually telling the truth? What if there wasn't anything to indict him on? What if there wasn't enough solid evidence? Like I said, before we go into the rest of this video and checking this video out, let me show you what I mean. Even right here, take a look. And it just makes sense. Okay. So on Wednesday evening, MSNBC learned that the Justice Department planned to indict James Comey, encountered a last-minute roadblock earlier this week when line prosecutors presented Trump's newly installed U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia with a memo suggesting their case against the former FBI director is too weak to pursue. Now, if this is absolutely 110% true, two sources familiar with the case said the memo explained why prosecutors lack sufficient evidence to convince a grand jury to indict Comey. But Miss U.S. Attorney Halligan can overrule the recommendation. So she went ahead and said, nah, I'm not listening to that. We're still pursuing. We're still heading towards taking Comey down. And I'm going to take Letitia James down too. Clearly, that's next. Clearly, Letitia James is next for sure. Right? Now, Hector, thank you so much for, again, being indicted by a grand jury means there is some evidence they saw legit enough to be indicted for. But we'll see. At the end, truth prevails. You are right. I'm with you 100% on that. At the end of the day, it has to be about what solid evidence do they have that's going to take James Comey down. I'm not sitting here saying that they don't have it. I'm just saying, what is it? Okay. And I think is a very interesting question to ask. Okay. I'm very interested. I'm very, very interested in that. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, we'll see what happens. Let us continue on as we were and hear a little bit more. Because they might have something. They might have something heavy that's just going to destroy Comey. And he's screwed if that's the case. Or they don't have anything, but they really want to take this guy down. And maybe they're going, let's indict him now and we'll figure out what else to stick on him. You see what I'm saying? Maybe that's what it is too. I don't know. But it is very interesting that the guy before didn't find anything. Now they found something. Like I said, is it enough to really take him down? Callie Dime, I agree 110%. The evidence matters more than anything. If they don't have anything, then it's going to be a waste of mother-loving time. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, we'll see what happens.
Well, this is at the Eastern District of Virginia Courthouse in Virginia. We see reporters coming out right now after the indictment just dropped from the grand jury. So we want to just give you the latest here of what we are learning from Fox News on this breaker. Former FBI Director James Comey was indicted by a grand jury on alleged false statement and obstruction of justice charges. Fox News Digital exclusively reported back in July that Comey was under criminal investigation by the FBI. The probe into Comey centered on whether he lied to Congress during his September 30th, 2020 testimony about his handling of the original Trump-Russia probe at the FBI, known inside the Bureau as Crossfire Hurricane.
Damn.
Fox News Digital also exclusively
Crazy.
reported that former CIA Director John Brennan is under criminal investigation related to the Trump-Russia investigation. Under federal law, prosecutors have 5 years to bring a charge, with the 5-year mark occurring this Tuesday. So a grand jury had to come together here, and they had up until Tuesday to get this indictment. The case is being handled by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Virginia. Former special counsel Robert Mueller was appointed to take over the FBI's original Crossfire Hurricane investigation. After nearly 2 years, Mueller's investigation, which concluded in March of 2019, yielded no evidence of criminal conspiracy or coordination between the Trump campaign and Russian officials during the 2016 presidential election. Shortly after, John Durham was appointed as special counsel to investigate the origins of the Crossfire Hurricane investigation. Durham found that the FBI failed to act on a clear warning sign that the Bureau was the target of a Clinton-led effort to manipulate or influence the law enforcement process for political purposes ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Indeed, had the FBI opened the Crossfire Hurricane investigation as an assessment and in turn gathered and analyzed data in concert with the information from the Clinton plan intelligence, it is likely that the information received would have been examined at a minimum with a more critical eye, the report continued to say. Durham, in his report, said the FBI failed to act on what should have been when combined with other facts, a clear warning sign that the FBI might then be the target of an effort to manipulate or influence the law enforcement process for political purposes during the 2016 presidential election. All right, we are also getting an update and posting on X from the FBI Director Kash Patel saying today, your FBI took another step in its promise of full accountability. For far too long, previous corrupt leadership and their enablers weaponized federal law enforcement, damaging once proud institutions and severely eroding public trust. Every day, we continue the fight to earn that trust back. And under my leadership, this FBI will confront the problem head on. Nowhere was this politicization of law enforcement more blatant than during the Russiagate hoax, a disgraceful chapter in history we continue to investigate and expose. Everyone, especially those in positions of power, will be held to account no matter their perch. No one is above the law. We are also getting a statement from Attorney General Pamela Bondi saying no one is above the law. Today's indictment reflects this Department of Justice's commitment to holding those who abuse positions of power accountable for misleading the American people. We will follow the facts in this case. And now Dan Bongino as well putting a statement on X saying, when Director Patel and I took on our leadership positions in the FBI, we promised the American people accountability. Promises matter. So again, this was coming up to 5 years, and that would have been the marker which they needed to get an indictment before the 5-year turn, which is happening on Tuesday. The indictment has come down with 2 charges against the former FBI director, James Comey. And again, we are continuing to follow always the very latest here.
This is very interesting. And I wonder what's going to happen here, right? I really, really wonder what's going to happen here. Rock on. Thank you so much for the both the super chats. I appreciate it. I think they're both saying the same thing, but thank you so much. Thank you, Pascal. If you guys have not seen the movie 0 Day, it is so relevant to all that is going on. I've seen it. I think it's the one with Robert De Niro. Yeah, it was good. It was good. You will love it. Yeah. I thought it was very entertaining, and yeah, I could see some. I could see some connections here for sure. I could definitely see that. Maura, thank you so much for the love and being a member for the past over 2 years. I appreciate it. 27 months. If that's the case, then the president shouldn't be in office. I know that's an argument a lot of people have said, for sure. A lot of people have had that argument for sure. So I just leave that conversation up to you guys in the chat. Okay. But let me get into some of this other stuff, because again, there were things that were mentioned in, online, things that he said, Trump said, that was meant to be sent to Pam Bondi. Okay. And, he sent it to the people. Okay. He sent it out here. All right. So let's take a look at this. So it says here, I reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially, quote unquote, same old story as last time, all talk, no action, nothing to be done or nothing being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. Then we almost put a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past, a woke rhino who is never going to do his job. That's why 2 of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. He even lied to the media and said he quit and that we had no case. No, I fired him. And there is a great case and many layers, and legal pundits say so. Lindsay is a really good lawyer and likes you a lot. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice. They indicted me 5 times over nothing. All in bold letters. Or in caps, sorry. Justice must be served now. President DJT. So some people think that he put that out to the public, not by mistake, but by design, right? Which I don't know. I think is very interesting. But let's hear what Alex Jones got to say about this with his gay frogs. Let's take a listen, shall we?
Well, exactly what I started telling my viewers and listeners 4 months ago has now been 100% confirmed by Trump. And I have a lot of high-level DOJ sources, and I'll just leave it at that, and people in the White House. Trump has been given all the bulletproof evidence of Letitia James, Fannie Willis, Jack Smith, Brennan Clapper, Comey, all of them engaged in massive collusion, Bill Barr as well, trying to get Trump indicted and put in prison, and persecuting Trump supporters, yours truly right at the center of it. General Flynn, Roger Stone, you name it. You know, the Arctic Frost documents Congress has released just last week. All the information that the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard's released, it's all smoking gun. Obama, the Clintons, rigging, the Steele dossier, Crossfire Hurricane, all of it. And so Trump has told Pam Bondi and Cash Patel, the rest of them, and the U.S. attorneys, look, here's the evidence. Go after these people. And then yesterday, for about an hour, he put on Truth Social the statement I posted right next to this. It's like a private message to Pam Bondi. And they're saying it's an accident, but Trump hasn't said that himself. And I think I know it's a real shot across the bow. And as I've told you, they brought in the Attorney General of Missouri, who's really hardcore. Only other person that's good is Ken Paxton at the state level, the Texas Attorney General. In as the co-deputy director of the FBI. So when Bongino leaves, he's ready to remove Cash Patel when Trump's ready if Cash doesn't deliver. And they're not. And Pam Bondi is delivering as well. So as I said 4 months ago, I said within 6 months, 2 months left, if they haven't started major indictments of the deep state, then they're going to be removed. It's a clear and present danger, not just to Trump's family, not just to his key backers like myself, but to all of you and the whole giant crime syndicate they've been running. And as soon as they start indicting kingpins and their minions don't feel invincible anymore, it's going to fall like a house of cards already is. They've got whistleblowers out the door at the DOJ. Ed Martin's talked about that publicly, so talk about it. So it's on. It's on. So that's the facts. And Pam Bondi and Patel, talk big, but we haven't seen action.
What do you think on that so far? Okay, what do you think? Do you think that he has a point there? Because honestly, I feel like they screwed up pretty badly with the Epstein files. Don't you think? That was kind of the start of the screw up. That's where I feel like everything started going downhill. Right? Now, again, let me just be real. Okay? Let me just be real. Where are the files? Like, we haven't forgotten about the Epstein files. We definitely have not. At least I haven't. Have you? Sure, there's been a lot of really bad things that have happened over the past couple weeks. I mean, the Charlie Kirk situation, all right, was a very big situation. Understandable, right? There was the whole memorial, which some will look at it in a certain way. Some might look at it as just a memorial. Okay, but nonetheless, that was a big deal, big situation. There's been a lot that's been going on. So I'm wondering, again, I repeat, where are the files? Because I haven't forgotten about them. Sure, we're talking about, indicting James Comey. Fine. If there is some sort of illegal activity from him, expose that ass. Okay, expose the whole doggone thing. Okay, go for it. But at the same time, what's up with the files, though? Respectfully, with all due respect, what happened with them files, though? Where them files at, though? Am I the only one that's wondering about that? Because I know some of y'all like, oh my God, yeah, the files. Holy crap, the Epstein, holy crap. What happened to the files? They ain't here. They ain't around. We ain't even talking about it no more. So mission accomplished? Now, I understand business has to continue. The world keeps on spinning and the news keeps on newsing, and the Epstein files are just the tip of the iceberg of a whole mess of other things that we're dealing with as a country. But at the same time, where are the files at, though? Sure, James Comey's getting indicted. Bet. What's next? Right? Maybe the files? Shouldn't there be other people indicted as well? What about those people, right, that were involved in the terrible things that these women went through? What about those names? Indict those mother lovers too. Where are they at? You see how, and I'm just saying this respectfully because we need to bring some awareness to this too. If you really think about it, he's going, these are great cases. They're fantastic. Why isn't anybody indicting these people? Adam Shifty Schiff and Letitia and James Comey. Sup with that. These are great cases. We need to push this to the limit. We need to take them down now. What about all those people that were on the Epstein files, though? Can't you do the same thing? Can't you indict these mother lovers with the same amount of vigor and energy? I'm just asking a question. Notice, they don't exist. You got to remember the same group of people that are out here putting out tweets going, nobody's above the law. Well, why didn't you say that same energy? Why didn't you give that same energy just a few months ago when we were talking about Epstein? What happened with that, though? If nobody's above the law, what about all them mother lovers? Sorry, with all due respect. Yeah. Get you some Comey. Get you some Shifty Schiff and some Letitia. Bet. Hopefully you have enough evidence. But what about them other people? Those other mother lovers, the dark underbelly, the 1% of the 1%ers, those monsters that are living in plain sight, hiding in plain sight. What about those? What about those monsters? Shouldn't you be taking them down too? Like I said, it's fine. This is just my opinion. Take them all down. But you got the same three guys, Bongino, Patel, and Bondi, all coming swooping in, going, see, we ain't ones to play with, son. Trying to be Trump's hype men. Cool, that's fine. Go ahead and be the cat that can't stop licking, like that got the cream that can't stop licking themselves. That is fine. But use that same energy for these other Epstein file stuff. Indict some mother lovers that were involved. Oh, let's not forget, take Ghislaine Maxwell out of that freaking Club Med that she's staying at and put her back in that Florida jail or prison that she was staying at. Okay? Serve justice properly and rightfully. Okay? That's it. That's it. We could do all of this at the same time. Do you understand? You're the government. You know what I mean? They can spin 17 different plates at the same damn time. You feel me? So why? That doesn't make sense to me, guys. It doesn't make sense, but okay. Okay. But they're sitting there going, see, son, don't mess with us. Nobody's above the law. Okay. All right. It's that victory lap thing. It's very interesting. And don't get me wrong. Letitia James and Adam Schiff should be very concerned. They should be very nervous right now because they got somebody out here, Lindsay Halligan, that's willing to do whatever it takes to take them the F down. So they better be on their P's and Q's or they better lawyer up. Let's just say that too. They better lawyer up because they are in some serious trouble. Beautiful basketball. I saw. Thank you so much for sending it to me. I appreciate you. Okay, we're going to be reading that indictment here in just a minute. Little Shirley, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All this BS Trump is doing is a distraction from those files. Ain't that something? Well, I will say this to in his defense, he only had 5 more days. He had till next Tuesday to file this, or it would fly away. Okay? It would get away and it would fly away like a Lenny Kravitz song. So again, can't have that happen. He's not going to let that happen. That's why he's like, time is of the essence right now. We need to get on this toot sweet. Veet, veet, let's go. Andale, andale, right? Okay? That's why they did this. That's why these indictments are coming. So you never know. Tomorrow, Letitia James could be next. Then Monday, it could be Adam Schiff. You never know. They have 5 days. Well, actually 4 if you really think about it. 4 more days. Actually, if you really think about it, 3 more days? Because there's Friday. And if you're not working on Saturdays and Sundays, right, then you got Monday and then the all-day Tuesday. But you know for a fact they're working through the weekends. So they got 4 more days, and that's it, y'all. 4 more days for that. And then it's a wrap, son. Okay? It's a wrap. So again, very, very interesting. But like I said, priorities are a little askew, in my personal opinion. But again, I get it. He wanted to take these mother lovers down. I get it. He wanted to take these mother lovers down. Let's get over to this indictment, shall we? Let's take a look at this. Thank you so much, beautiful messy ball. Appreciate you. Thank you. So, of course, here's the paperwork, but I'm just going to read off of here because he's just giving us the counts right here anyway. Okay. But these are the paper. This is the paperwork. Okay. Just so you know, this is the paperwork. A true bill, as it says here, signed by Lindsay Halligan, right here, United States Attorney, right there. So let's take a look at this, shall we? So according to Benny Johnson, the Benny Show, okay, for those of y'all who don't know, he's the one who had the interview with the head of FCC, where the FCC said, well, we're gonna do it the easy way, or we're gonna do it the hard way, Jimmy Kimmel, for what you said, Jimmy Kimmel, right? Remember that whole situation? Okay, that's the show, or this is the account, Twitter account. So here it is. Full text of former FBI James Comey's indictment has been released. So here it is. Count 1. On or about September 30th of 2020. Remember, they had 5 years, 5 whole years to make this happen. And their cutoff date was on September of this year, 2025. So 5 days from now, more like 4 now, but you get what I'm saying. James Comey Jr. did willfully and knowingly make a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement in a matter within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the government of the United States by falsely stating to a U.S. senator during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing that he, James Comey Jr., had not, quote unquote, authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning person 1, which we can say or assume they're talking about Trump as person 1. Let's just say that. Moving on. On or about the same day, September 30th, 2020, in the Eastern District of Virginia, the defendant, James Comey Jr., did corruptly endeavor to influence, obstruct, and impede the due and proper exercise of the power of inquiry under which an investigation was being had before the Senate Judiciary Committee by making false and misleading statements before that committee. So in other words, they're saying he lied. He straight up lied. Okay? Lied. So then Benny says, throw away the key. Just throw away the key. Lock him up, throw away the key. Okay? So again, he knowingly made materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statements in a matter within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the government of the United States by falsely stating a U.S. Senate by falsely stating to a U.S. U.S. Senator during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing that he, James Comey, had not, quote unquote, authorized someone else to start basically investigating Trump. Then the other thing, the last part, that he just straight up lied. He made false, misleading statements before the actual committee. During this hearing, he just straight up lied. And then, of course, he lied about authorizing someone to keep an eye on Trump. Now, I'm hoping that they have solid evidence of Trump or of somebody made to be an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation. He authorized someone else at the FBI to be a source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning Trump. I mean, I feel like it's fair to say Trump. It could be anybody else, but I think it's Trump. But if you see that, that's very interesting, right? So again, it's like, hey, I gave a source to the news, okay, talking about what we've been looking into about Trump. But it's an anonymous source. But they work in the FBI. That's crazy, right? Then also on top of that, they're saying that he straight up mother-loving lied during this hearing. Now, if this is 110% true, again, these are allegations. This is what he's being indicted on with these charges. This is what he's being indicted on. If this is 110% true, then Comey got some splaining to do. And yeah, he's in some serious trouble. This is not good. At the end of the day, this is no good for Mr. Comey. And if they were able to find this and take this guy down, what could they find on Letitia James and Adam Schiff and anybody else that might be on the list, on Trump's list? Because you know for a fact, Trump has a list. So in this specific one, he had 5 more days to get this filed. And it was basically down to a wire. Or he couldn't file against James Comey. So now he was able to do it. Now, when it comes to Letitia James, that might be a different timeline. Same thing with Adam Schiff. Might be a completely different timeline. But nonetheless, you have now Lindsay Halligan, the new U.S. attorney that is coming after all of the people that Trump is saying for her to go after. She just moved into the job on Monday. It's Thursday, and she's already indicting the former director of the FBI. This is huge, guys. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens after this. And also, on top of that, if they have enough evidence to really stick it to this guy. To actually, as Benny Johnson said, throw away the key. Do they have enough to really pursue a hardcore charge or charges against the former director of the FBI? It's going to be interesting to see what happens from this point on. Okay. She already deserves a raise already. We'll see about that. You never know. Like I said, she's indicting these guys, but she could be like I said, these 2 charges could literally be a shot in the dark if she does not have enough evidence to back it up. You got to understand that. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that she doesn't, so don't at me, because I know some of y'all will be like, she has enough. Stop it. Because anything, it's Trump or die pretty much. And I get it for you guys, you diehards. It's fine. I get it. But I'm saying those questions because you have to ask those questions. There's still a possibility that she's just indicting him on things that have no backing whatsoever. So I'm hoping that she has enough to take him down. If she doesn't, it's going to be a very interesting time. It's going to be interesting. She all of a sudden comes in and she's like, yeah, file, charge him. That could get messy. That's not a good look. And then at the same time, if it falls apart, that is definitely a reflection on the administration as well. So again, Trump doesn't want to look bad. He doesn't want to tarnish the reputation that he is trying to uphold. So hopefully, what they have is hardcore. So we'll see what happens, right? We will definitely see what happens. But guys, that is some crazy stuff, some crazy news. Let me see if there's anything else, any new updates in regards to this. I'm actually wondering if he has said anything, if he made a statement at all. I'm actually curious about that too. If James Comey maybe made a statement by maybe his lawyers or something like that. You know what I mean? Let me just check here real quick. Oh, wow. That was fast. Breaking news. Whoops. Breaking news. He just came out with something. This is crazy. About 34 minutes ago, he came out with a statement. Holy crap. This is hella fast. Hella fast. Let's take a look at this. So breaking, James Comey posts a video statement following his indictment. He says, my family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Uh-oh. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is a tool of a tyrant. And she's right. But I'm not afraid. And I hope you're not either. I hope instead you are engaged. You are paying attention. And you will vote like your beloved country depends on it. Which it does. My heart is broken for the DOJ. But I have great confidence in the federal judicial system. And I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith. Wow. Okay, let's take a look. This is nuts. He just came out with this. Breaking news. Breaking news. He just came out with this, y'all.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant. And she's right. But I'm not afraid. And I hope you're not either. I hope instead you are engaged, you are paying attention, and you will vote like your beloved country depends upon it, which it does. My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system. And I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
He just said, let go. Wow. He just said, hey, let's go. He's like, I'm innocent. So, all right, bet that. That's crazy. Okay. That's crazy. Oh, wow. We are living in some wild times, y'all. Man, he said, somebody I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant. And she's right, but I'm not afraid. And I hope you are not either. Wow. He said, I hope instead you are engaged, you are paying attention, and that you will vote like your beloved country depends upon it, which it does. Man. Oh, yeah, that's definitely his daughter. Maureen Comey? Absolutely. Okay. She just recently lost her job a couple months ago, too. Remember that? Spearheading the lawsuit against Diddy and all that? Yeah. Yeah, that's his daughter. Yeah. So now that is something else. That is something else. Holy cow. And from my understanding, he's supposed to be turning himself in tomorrow? Allegedly? I had a feeling he was going to say something, but damn, I didn't know he was going to say something that quickly. That's surprising. I'm playing this. This is something that he said in 2017, by the way. I'm just playing it.
There should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered in our election during the 2016 cycle. They did it with purpose. They did it with sophistication. They did it with overwhelming technical efforts. And it was an active measures campaign driven from the top of that government. There is no fuzz on that. It is a high confidence judgment of the entire intelligence community. and the members of this committee have seen the intelligence. It's not a close call. That happened. That's about as unfake as you can possibly get, and is very, very serious, which is why it's so refreshing to see a bipartisan focus on that, because this is about America, not about any particular party.
Interesting. Interesting information. Interesting statement as well. This is going to be a very interesting situation. I'm wondering how that's going to transpire, but we're going to keep an eye on this for sure. Let me get these super chats here really quick. Okay, rock on. Thank you so much. How did Comey's daughter become lead prosecutor in Epstein file, fresh out of law school in South District of New York? You know, that's a question I cannot answer. I don't know. Maybe because she is Comey's daughter. Maybe that's straight up the reason. Maybe because of nepotism. Good old-fashioned nepotism. It doesn't only happen in Hollywood, everybody. It also happens in the most regular of jobs, right? So maybe that's the case. But I am kind of curious about that, because I know Beautiful Messy Ball also said that too, that she was in charge of the Epstein files as well, that Maureen Comey was in charge of the Epstein files, which is also very, very interesting. Okay. Didn't know that was the case. That's news to me. Okay. Fly Girl, thank you so much. Yes, I'll keep an eye out. Send it my way. I'll keep an eye out and see what's going on here. But nonetheless, guys, this is very interesting. This is a very interesting developing piece of information. When we find out more information, we'll talk about it. And we talk about everything on this channel, okay? Yes, we lean pretty heavy into the true crime realm of things, but also at the same time, we talk about a lot of things that are going on that matter with our country and what matter with our world. And this is something that matters because, again, if he's on the chopping block, you know for a fact others are coming. Letitia James might be getting knocked off next. And then you got Adam Schiff. And God knows who else is on the list for Trump. Of Trumps. You never know. Now you have Lindsay Halligan, that is his guard dog, that's willing to bite. Doesn't matter. She's like, she is going to bite. She may be turning to him and being like, how hard do you want me to bite? And he's like, really hard. And that's all she's going to do. So we're going to see what happens here. But this is going to be very, very interesting nonetheless. Keep an eye out. It's going to be an interesting couple years. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. If you can, before you head out, please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it a do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. Please and thank you. If you are watching on those other platforms like Facebook, X/, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, please make sure you follow. Please and thank you. All right? Hit that subscribe button here. Go and check out my other two channels, The Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Subscribe over there as well. That'd be greatly appreciated on both those channels. Hit the notification bell and set it to all on all those platforms, on all those channels, so you know whenever I go live or whenever I upload. That'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that join button down below, become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. All right? Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Have a great rest of your night. If something pops off, if there's some breaking news, I might be back on a little bit later on tonight. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right? Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.